Stadium is the place to be in Ann Arbor today. 100,000 plus in the big house. No surprise there. Getting ready for UNLV and Michigan with a noon kickoff. BTN football is presented by the United States Marine Corps. UNLV looking for their first win, while Michigan trying to put together 2 consecutive wins. Well, to get us ready for our kick, take a look at our Auto Owners Insurance Impact players. Let's talk about when Michigan has the football.
Well, you have hard-nosed running back Davion Smith. He's going to carry the load today for Jim Harbaugh's offense. And he's always going to have Jake Butt or a tight end involved in his offense. Look for him to have a big impact. And then for UNLV, it's Penny Vea. He will be active around the line of scrimmage.
Well, when UNLV is on offense, what are you thinking about?
Well, Kurt Paldeck may get in the game, or it could be Blake Decker, one of those 2 quarterbacks, but either one's got to make an impact. Keith Whiteley, their hard-nosed, do everything running back. And on Michigan, Chris Wormley had 6 tackles for loss already this year.
Well, Michigan, they have won the toss. First decision of the day, Jim Harbaugh has decided that he wants to allow UNLV to have the ball first, so Michigan's defense will begin the game on the field. Kicks it off. Spinning kick. It'll make it into the end zone and through the end zone. So a touchback to begin the game. And UNLV will start on offense, and all eyes on that huddle along the east sideline to figure out which quarterback we will see. It appears as if it will be Blake Decker, the senior quarterback out of Mesa, Arizona. He was banged up, had a bit of a hamstring injury. They didn't think he'd be able to play, but it appears he will.
He is, and he is the thrower. He has an excellent arm, and if there's any weakness for Michigan, it's the secondary. So look for UNLV to throw the ball a little bit more today against that weakness of the Michigan defense.
Well, they're spotting the football. It'll be first down at 10. Ball at the 25-yard line, the first time that Michigan has played UNLV in the game of football. Keith Whiteley is the deep back. Decker hands it to Whiteley, and nowhere to go. That'll be a tackle for a loss. James Ross blows it up. A loss of 1 on the first play from scrimmage.
Well, that's what you don't want, especially on the road, is a lost yardage play, and they start off right off the bat with a lost yardage play, trying to run off tackle, off the tight end there, but that defensive front is strong and stout. It's going to be tough to run the ball against that Michigan front 7.
Couple of linebackers in Desmond Morgan and Joe Bolden playing really well right now for Michigan, and they bottle up things right in the middle of the line. No running room at all. Joe Bolden will be credited with his first tackle. Bolden leading the teams in tackles. He has got 21 now on the year. Now, if you're looking for the game between Kent State and Minnesota, go to btn.com/gamefinder to see where you can find your game.
3rd and extra long here, Eric. Tough situation again on the road, but you do have a veteran quarterback in Blake Decker. The big thing for UNLV is don't make the mistake. Don't turn the ball over.
And it's a play clock issue. Play clock has been reset. 3rd down and 11. Probably the best thing that UNLV does on offense is their wide receivers. They've got 4 real good ones, 4 in the game right now. And Decker goes down. Oh, it's a sack. Matt Godin brings him down. His first sack of the year.
Not a sack. He squirted out of it.
He got out of that tackle somehow and got 16 yards.
His knee never went down.
Oh, I thought they blew dead.
See it right here.
Oh, my goodness. I guess his left knee never touched the ground. So it's a first down, and that play will be looked at a bit longer. No reason not to.
The ruling on the field was that the runner was not down. The previous play is under further review.
And Mike Conlon explaining that the quarterback was not down in the backfield.
Look at the left knee there. Does it touch the ground? If it doesn't, it's still alive. There's a great angle for it right now.
Yeah, the key points. You look at your knees, elbows. Nothing like that ever touched the ground. The left knee, it looked like you could have slid a piece of paper underneath it.
That left knee never touched the ground. Heads-up play by Blake Decker, just staying alive with the play.
In years past, you could have looked to see if there's a grass stain on the left knee of Decker, but you're not going to find any grass stains on this field turf here. So it's either going to be a 16-yard gain or a 7-yard loss. That's a 23-yard difference. Here's Mike Conley.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
Ruling on the field stands. So the first big play of the day goes to UNLV.
And that was obviously Michigan sack that he got out of. They're going to have to shore up that protection a little bit because that Michigan D-line was on him quick. That was a heads-up play by Blake Decker, just staying alive. That's why you have to play to the whistle. Play to the whistle. No whistle, you have to keep playing.
And we talked the fact that he didn't practice much this week. Banged up, but he's still able to make a physical play and move the chains. Decker's first throw sails high, picked off. Coming the other way, it's Channing scribbling. Scribbling with the takeaway. Still on his feet. Spun down at the 31. Just the third takeaway on the year for Michigan, but a great way to get started.
Well, Blake Decker, his rhythm and timing was off on the play. He steps up in the pocket nice here, but he's waiting for his receiver and threw it too late and behind the wide receiver. Whenever there's a pass play over the middle and you're late throwing the ball, it's usually going to be behind the receiver, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, we keep talking about Michigan looking for explosive plays on offense. They just got an explosive play on defense. That was a 32-yard interception return. Davion Smith is the deep back. Gets the handoff from Jake Rudock. And Smith, coming off a 100-yard day, gets to the 30-yard line. It'll bring up second down and 7. Jake Rudock, graduate transfer from Iowa, his third start.
Very accurate passer. He was very accurate at Iowa. And he really had a good touchdown-interception ratio at Iowa. But don't forget, this is his first year in this offense, and it's going to be a last year playing. So he's still trying to get indoctrinated in this offense.
Couple of tight ends in the game. The handoff again to Davion Smith. Blast forward close to the first down marker. Chuck, I want to talk to you all game long about creating big plays. We know Jake Rudock has not completed a pass deep down the field. What are some options to allow that to happen in this Michigan offense?
Well, no, they have to call it. They have to call it down the field. One thing that Jake Rudock, I thought at Iowa, just threw the long ball too late at times. You don't have to possess a strong arm, which I don't think he does have a strong arm, but you don't have to have one to throw the ball deep. You just have to throw it up on time and in rhythm. Let's see if that transpires here today with Jake.
Timeout for an injured player.
There was an injured player for UNLV trying to get off the field. And we have got a timeout now with 11:45 remaining in our first quarter.
Player receiving attention on the sideline is Matt Lee.
It looked like it was Matt Lee trying to make it to the sideline. Matt Lee, one of the linebackers. Matt Lee is number 23. You see him. He's the one who got bowled over by Davion Smith and now being held on that east sideline.
Got his legs tangled up underneath the pile there. Now Michigan's off to a good start here, Eric, and that's one of their goals for today. They have had poor starts in their previous 2 games, and they're off to a great start with the interception, and now they're in the red zone, which they've been very good all year in the red zone.
Well, in-house here at Michigan Stadium, they're still working on the referee's microphone. We're told that should be rectified. Third down and 1. Let's see if we see that power football. Davion Smith behind the fullback, Joe Carriage. They give it to Smith. Third straight carry, and he's got the first down. That's Michigan football 2015.
And UNLV put all 11 at the line of scrimmage. They knew it was coming. So look for a third and short pass as the game goes on. But that's Michigan football, as you mentioned, Eric. Power football, 3rd and 1. That's the down and distance situation they want to be in.
Well, Michigan so far so good in the red zone this season. 8 for 8. They have scored touchdowns on 6 of the 8 trips inside the 25.
Going to an empty set here.
Two tight ends left side. A hard time finding a situation when Michigan doesn't have two tight ends on the field. It's complete. Amara Darbo, his first catch, gets inside the 10.
Everybody thinks that Jim Harbaugh is going to play fullback type style offense with a back in the backfield or two backs. There's an empty formation. You know you're going to throw the ball. Coach Harbaugh shows versatility in his play calling and spreading guys out in an empty formation. He wants to keep it mixed up.
Fresh set of downs, first and goal. Smith, another carry, weaves his way inside the 5. Junior out of Warren, Ohio. Not only does he run hard, but the coaching staff telling us he has got such a great feel for where to go.
Well, I'm talking offensive coordinator Tim Dredno. We were trying to search, well, why Davion Smith? Well, he gave us the answer. Yards after contact. He's a hard-nosed runner. Yards after contact is big for Jim Harbaugh and his offense. That's why Davion Smith is the starting tailback.
Jake Butt and A.J. Williams, the two tight ends in this formation. A couple of the wide receivers top of your screen, along with Davion Smith in the backfield. Next to Rudock out of the shotgun. Rudock with time, wide open in the back of the end zone, and it's off the mark. Jake Butt had a sure touchdown, but Rudock couldn't get it there.
He had him wide open. He had Jake Butt wide open right at the snap of the football. UNLV's defense was misaligned, did not cover the tight end at all right off the line of scrimmage. He should have popped him quicker. Now, I don't know what Jake Rudock was looking at there. He just missed through the football. Get that elbow up a little higher and throw the ball to the outside or the back shoulder. He had a touchdown, easy touchdown.
Michigan doesn't want to settle for 3. Rudock, Smith wide open out of the backfield. Touchdown, Michigan.
The strength of Jake Rudock, and he's the same way at the University of Iowa, is getting down to his second or third option, especially the running back. He's looking down the field in the end zone for his tight ends, wasn't there. Flips his hips to the outside and sees a wide open Davion Smith. He's really good at his checkdowns.
Davion Smith, 21 of the 32 yards on that drive. Extra point by Kenny Allen is good. So, Michigan, they keep on keeping on. Dating back to last week, they've now scored 42 unanswered points.
Football on BTN is presented by the United States Marine Corps. The few, the proud, the Marines. Brought to you by FanDuel, the leader in one-week fantasy football. And by Ally Bank, where no branches equals great rates.
Well, if you had a checklist for Michigan, they've already X'd a couple of boxes. They got a takeaway. That's something they haven't done a lot of defensively. And offensively, they moved with precision for a touchdown once they got in the red zone.
Well, they got off to a better start, and they haven't had that, and mission accomplished. Got a great defensive interception, as you mentioned, Eric, and then Jake Rudock took him down the field in the red zone, scored a touchdown on a nice swing pass to Davion Smith. Great start for Michigan.
Second kickoff. Kenny Allen. Big right foot. Eric Criswell will take it out of the end zone. And Criswell not going to make it to the 20. Let's go down on the field where Johnny Kane is standing by. Johnny, what do you have?
Well, I'll tell you what, Davion Smith coming off his best rushing performance of his career last week against Oregon State, 126 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Guy's 5'11", 228 pounds, and really resembles that of former Michigan backs Chris Perry and Tyrone Wheatley. And we asked Jim Harbaugh, hey, does he remind you of anybody? And Jim Harbaugh, if you know anything about him, he doesn't like to draw comparisons between two. He says, hey, let every guy be based on his own merit, but certainly you see what he can do out of the backfield as well. He's off to a great start today, guys.
Johnny, thank you so much. I saw a little bit of Anthony Thomas in his game a week ago against Oregon State. That's a high compliment. First down carry. This is Keith Whiteley. And Whiteley with a 7-yard gain. Nice carry. Whiteley is a junior out of Houston, Texas. Actually, virtually every single running back we'll see today for UNLV hails from the Lone Star State. A whole bunch of Texans running the football.
UNLV went from a pistol formation there, and they're going to do it again here. What that does, it gives the running back more vision for the line of scrimmage, so he can make the cutback play if he needs to.
Blake Decker, the quarterback, hands it off to Whiteley again, and Whiteley, he's going to have a first down and then some. Crosses over the 30. He's picked up 7 yards and now 6 yards in 2 carries.
Well, offensive coordinator Barney Cotton told us yesterday, hey, he wants to run, they want to run the ball, and they're sticking with that plan. And again, they're going from the pistol formation, which means the running back's behind the quarterback in the shotgun to give Whiteley more vision, and it sets up those blocks a little bit better up front. Gives them time to block and better vision.
Another chance for Whiteley. This time it's defended well. Pickup of a yard. Taco Charlton on the tackle. Well, UNLV, first year under Tony Sanchez, they're looking for their first win. Week 1, they lost in DeKalb, Illinois against Northern Illinois. 38-30, no shame in that. The Huskies, pretty good program in the Mid-American Conference. Last week at home, they lost against UCLA. Didn't have much success doing anything. UCLA beat them 37-3. 3 receivers lined up behind each other, bottom of your screen. But it's going to be another run. Sniffed out well. Tackle made at the 33-yard line against Taco Charlton in the mix.
What UNLV's trying to do is stay out of a 3rd and long situation like they did in the last series. Now they have a more manageable 3rd down. Instead of a 3rd and 11, they're around 3rd and 7 now, so that's why they're running the ball. Stay out of those 3rd and longs, especially on the road against this good Michigan defense.
Tony Sanchez is a great story. More on him. UNLV Rebels head coach was coaching high school football a year ago at this time. Michigan showing pressure. Oh, Decker loses it. Just has to jump on the football. No chance for that play at all. The center, Will Kreitler, his snap goes off the fingertips of Blake Decker, and it'll bring up a punting situation.
You see Blake Decker took his eyes off the ball momentarily. That's usually the case when the ball hits the quarterback square and he drops it. Took his eyes off the ball, but he did get on it. Did a smart play just falling on the ball so they can punt it away.
Logan Yunker is the punter for UNLV. The Grill Peppers back deep for the Wolverines. High kick. Peppers calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 40-yard line. Timeout on the field when we return. Michigan, their second offensive possession. Turned out to be a really nice day here in Ann Arbor. That's the engineering building. 6:22 remaining in our first quarter. Michigan on top of UNLV 7-0. We had rain all evening and early morning, but that's history. It is a cloudy day, but it is mid-70s. A little bit of a breeze. It's nice. Jake Butt goes in motion. Little quick hitter. Pass is complete. They get it out in space. Amar Darbo gets close to the first down. Let's go to Mike Hall for a T-Mobile studio update.
Eric, you mentioned that you got rain there in Ann Arbor. In East Lansing, they had rain too, but that's not stopping the Spartans from throwing. Connor Cook to Josiah Price. They strike first, up 7-0 on Air Force.
Thank you, Mike. A lot of football not too far away. Michigan and Michigan State both playing home games. They start at the noon hour. Local. Davion Smith gets the first down and then some. Fresh set of downs for Michigan.
You're seeing a little tempo offense or no-huddle offense on that last play by Michigan. So Coach Harbaugh is bringing it all out here from his offensive playbook. There's been a huddle offense all year long, but they caught UNLV sleeping there with a no-huddle play for the first down.
A lot of experience on that offensive line. Guys who've been in the program for a while. Maybe not starting all 4 years, but guys that have been together and learning about Michigan football. Smith has been the workhorse. No surprise. This carried out of the 40-yard line before he's wrapped up. Mason Cole, Ben Braden, Graham Glasgow, Kyle Kalis, and Eric Magnuson. These are guys that have had some continuity up front. Look at the starts. 25 for Glasgow, fifth-year senior. Last year, 25 sacks allowed. Chuck, this year, much improved. Only 1 sack allowed this year so far. And Glasgow is really the leader of that group. He's the veteran. He sets the offense. He identifies the Mike linebacker and protections. He's really the great communicator up there. Play fake. Rudock dumps it down. Pass is complete. That'll be enough for a first down. That was the fullback, Joe Carriage, with the catch. 9 more yards for Michigan. And you'll see Jim Harbaugh putting in his fullback for a whole series. First play was a run play, and then he fakes to the running back and throws out to Joe Carriage out in the flat on a simple bootleg. Still has that fullback offense in. Pitch out this time. 8th touch for Smith, and he's tackled for a loss. First time he's gone backwards. Fred Wilson comes in from his corner to drop Smith for a 3-yard loss. Great job by Fred Wilson as the corner support there, but Michigan had nobody out in front to block him. He was an unblocked player, and it looked like the fullback missed his block there on the corner. That's just the second time this year that Smith has been dropped for a loss on a running play. Pass is knocked away. Good defense played by Torrey McTire. Fans of the San Francisco 49ers back in the 80s and early 90s. He's the son of Tim McTire, very good NFL cornerback. I thought Jake threw it a little bit late. There might have been contact there. They didn't call it, but I thought Jake Rudock threw the ball too late there. He's got to get the ball out of his hand quicker. Third down in a bunch, and Rudock spins out of a tackle. Keeps the play alive. And that pass had intentionally been thrown away. Lamar Darboh was in the area. But it'll bring up 4th down and 13, and maybe a decision for Michigan. They're kind of in that weird area. That's a long field goal try. This would be a 52-yard field goal. Do you punt it? It's too short for a punt, too long for a field goal. Like you said, they're going to go no man's land. They're going with the wind at their back. Jake Rudock stays in the game. Ty Isaac checks in for the first time, replacing Davion Smith in the backfield. 4th down and 13, and a timeout is called by UNLV. UNLV had the wrong personnel group on defense to match up, and Jim Harbaugh's always looking for those matchups. So we'll take a timeout and see what the decision is on 4th down when we return to Ann Arbor. Welcome back, everyone. Michigan Stadium here in Ann Arbor. And the decision's been made on 4th down and 13. Michigan will punt the football away. The way that defense is playing is a smart play. Blake O'Neal, the transfer from Weber State. High kick, end over end. Beautifully placed. And it will be down inside the 5. 32-yard punt, no return. And that's the way you draw it up. Perfect execution. Well, Big Ten football continues at 3:30 today. The Badgers, they're going to host Troy. Then at prime time, you will see a conference game, Rutgers and Penn State, or some will see Iowa taking on Pitt. That's today on BTN. And BTN to go to btn.com/gamefinder to find the game in your market. Well, you have UNLV pinned down deep, and that Michigan defense is playing well so far. They're showing press coverage on the outside, man-to-man bump press coverage. And it's going to be a handoff right up the gut to Whiteley, and Whiteley has no chance. When you play press coverage on the outside, it usually means you have one more person in the box defensively to stop the run. That's exactly what they're playing for on the Michigan defense, is that run game. They give him a yard. It'll bring up 2nd down and 9. And we really enjoyed talking to Desmond Morgan yesterday, 5th-year senior. In Holland, Michigan. He is hoping to have a senior season of his dreams, off to a good start. Another quality carry. That's Whiteley barreling through the first wall. James Ross brings him down, but a pickup of 7. And you mentioned Desmond Morgan. He wears number 3. Why, Eric? Because he was a quarterback his senior year in high school, and he told Coach Harbaugh he wanted to wear number 3 again. And everybody wants to be a quarterback, right? But only some can, right, Chuck Long? There's number 3. Actually, he was 44 his freshman year. Then he was 48. This year, number 3. A lot of change in his life. Looking for the first down marker, and it's gained. Nice, positive run. This Whiteley kid making Xavier Campbell running hard, a 12-yard gain.
Nice job getting out. You're pinned back in the end zone. They stick with the run game. Broke the tackle. Stayed alive with his feet to get that first down. Watch that ball security now. Don't swing that ball.
Desmond Morgan had a full hand on that football. Wasn't able to rip it away. We talked about it earlier in the game. Michigan hoping to get more turnovers in today's game. Only had 2 coming into today's game. Decker's pass is a little bit behind the intended receiver. He was looking for Kendall Keys.
And Blake Decker, he got hurt last week, so you're seeing the effects of that in the passing game. He's thrown the ball behind twice now in this game. He does not have his rhythm yet. He had him open. He's got to lay it out in front there, but he does not have his rhythm right now.
That was Jordan Lewis on the coverage. It's good to see him out there and healthy. He went through the concussion protocol during the course of the week, but over the last couple of days, he was totally clear, and there was no question he was going to be able to give it a go. Second down at 10. Decker keeps it, makes the first man miss, but that's about it. Maybe picks up a yard. It'll bring up third down in a bunch.
UNLV trying to quarterback run game. Decker faking to his running back and keeping it. He's going to have to come out of the game.
And the helmet came off. He needs to come out of the game. Is the backup quarterback.
Until he was already on the ground. Therefore, he does not need to leave the game.
Palandek wears number 14. And he's not coming out. There's Palandek. Okay, we were just told that the officials mentioned he did not have to because his helmet accidentally came off. So third down and 9. Just a 3-man rush. And the extra cover man pays off. Channing Stribling knocks the football away.
Stribling with a nice play. Playing very well early for this Michigan defense. Great technique on the outside on bump and run. Good strip with his left hand. He puts that right hand on the hip, and then he strips it with the left hand. That's great technique.
There's DJ Durkin coming to this program as the defensive coordinator along with Jim Harbaugh. Jabril Peppers back to receive this punt. Michigan comes after it. It'll bounce, and it will not be returned. It'll go out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Let's go back to Chicago, to Mike Hall for a T-Mobile studio update.
And Eric, we go back for another score for the Spartans. This time it comes from the defense. A beautiful gift there of a fumble. R.J. Williamson picks it up, and he's got 64 yards and a convoy of green and white to protect him. The Spartans are up by 2 touchdowns with 5 minutes to go in the first.
Thank you, Mike. You always wonder about the hangover from a week ago. Michigan State with the impressive win against Oregon. The entire country buzzing about what Mark D'Antonio's team can be, yet they still come out strong against Air Force.
Sign of a good program. He's built it over a number of years, as we all know, and no hangover so far for Michigan State today.
Jake Butt, the tight end, goes in motion. Another running play, Davion Smith. He gets out to midfield.
Power running right up the middle over Graham Glasgow, their veteran center. Jim Harbaugh football right there with Joe Carriage leading the way as fullback, and that's what he loves to get back to that fullback offense.
Jim Harbaugh told us he really didn't care about explosive plays offensively. Was he just pulling our leg, or is that just not something that he cares about? Is it only points that is the bottom line?
It's points and clock, and using up clock. You know, they're using up about 34 minutes a game right now. So it's a matter of clock ball the whole game, and it's always been a very methodical offense with him in his past. He has not had the explosive plays in his repertoire and his background. He wants methodical offense and play smart football and protect the football.
You know, this is Michigan football the way Jim Harbaugh wants it to be played here in 2015. After 15 minutes, Michigan on top of UNLV 7-0. BTN football presented by the United States Marine Corps, and arguably one of the greatest athletic venues in the entire world. The Big House here in Ann Arbor. Michigan Stadium, 15 minutes in the books. Michigan on top of UNLV. 7-0. Third down and short to begin the second quarter. Rudock, play action. Pass is low, but it's complete to the fullback carriage, and the chains will move.
Here's that pass I was talking about on 3rd and 1, Eric. Last 3rd and 1 they had. Lost. UNLV was all up in there with 11 guys on the line of scrimmage. Jim Harbaugh took note, threw the pass on the next 3rd and 1 for the first down. Just a little flat pass. Nice catch by Carriage. That's a tough catch to handle.
Carriage is actually thinking about playing for Jim Harbaugh at Stanford when he came out of high school. Instead chose to walk on here to Michigan, earned a scholarship, and now is playing for Jim Harbaugh. Little reverse. This is Darboh trying to get to the edge. And Darboh pushed out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Pickup of 4 on first down.
Darboh was looking downfield. It was actually a reverse pass called. Here's the pitch. He's actually looking to throw. He's going to throw this ball. He's looking downfield. He saw him covered. Smart play by Darboh, just running the ball, get some positive yards. Nice stiff arm there. Good job by Darboh. Good decision.
Second down and 6. Ty Isaac is the deep back, and they give it. This will be a little wide receiver action coming on the end around, and this has got a chance to go. J.U. Chesson, touchdown, Michigan. And there is the longest play from scrimmage for Michigan on the year. A 36-yard run by the wide receiver, J.U. Chesson.
Coach Harbaugh bringing out a bag of tricks and 2 plays in a row. First a reverse, and then now a little jet sweep. And Chesson, according to Coach Offensive Coordinator Trent Drevno, is a 10-300-meter receiver. Saw the speed there.
Kenny Allen, extra point is true. So a couple of wide receiver runs, and Michigan finds the explosive play they've wanted. 14-0 is their lead. Nothing Michigan. Moments ago, Chuck, a touchdown, J.U. Chesson.
And watch Henry Poggi, the backup fullback, created this block on the edge to spring the touchdown. That's the key block with the jet sweep. And then look at Darboh down the field, turn and block his man right here. So Chesson can work to the corner of the end zone. Great execution.
This will be another touchback as the ball is down in the end zone.
Here's a great look at Poggi's block right there. Cuts the defender down on the ground to the outside knee. He aimed for the outside knee to spring into the outside. That's how the jet sweep works.
Poggi comes from a great program down in Baltimore, coached by his father. And that was a decisive block. And for Chesson, how about that, a little bit of personal history? His first touchdown since 2013, just the second of his career. He now has 1 touchdown receiving, 1 touchdown rushing. Well, let's see if UNLV can complete a pass. They were 0 for 3 passing the football in the first quarter. Second quarter, everything's new. Devontae Boyd, their best receiver, sophomore out of Henderson, Nevada, picks up 6. Let's check in with Johnny Kane.
Well, you hit it right there, Eric. Obviously, UNLV. We talked to Jim Harbaugh earlier in the week yesterday. In fact, we said, which quarterback would you rather face? He said, I'd rather not see Blake Decker. This is a guy who threw for 371 yards through the first 5 quarters of the season before being knocked out with a groin injury. Again, 0 passing yards until that last play, but Michigan's defense done a great job so far.
Decker, a senior out of Mesa, Arizona. Second year in the program. He's a junior college guy. Tackle in the backfield, Ryan Glasgow. Senior from Aurora, Illinois, playing wonderful football. Defensive coaches raving about him.
And UNLV is in a 3rd down situation here. Here it is. Just a simple off-tackle play, and there's a lot of Michigan defenders in that hole. UNLV is only 2 of 15 on 3rd downs against UCLA last week. Has not been a good down and distance for them. Got man coverage on the outside from Michigan.
3rd down and 6. Decker running out of time. Throws it at tight coverage. It is complete, but well short of the first down marker. Kendall Keys grabs just 2 yards and is tackled securely the moment he had the football.
That was a dangerous throw by Blake Decker in the coverage. And he's throwing off his back foot, too, so he's feeling that Michigan heat a little bit right now. Throwing off his back foot. It's a dangerous throw.
So Decker completes a couple of passes on that possession, but doesn't get a first down. Jabril Peppers back deep. Hadn't had a chance to return a punt as of yet. Looks to be a stutter step. Right side of the line.
Looked like UNLV jumped there.
False start. Number 51 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
It's been a remarkably well-played game. That's the first penalty flag that we've had.
And that's what you want in a first-year head coach with Tony Sanchez looking on there. It's going to be a tough game to win. So, hey, don't make mistakes. Let's see if we're playing smart football.
Peppers is going to return it. Starts from the 24. Peppers makes the first wall miss. Peppers in space. Spins to the 45. He's out to midfield. What a return. Jabril Peppers.
And that was all Peppers. Looks like he broke 4 or 5 tackles on that return. We heard a lot about his ability from Coach Harbaugh and his coaching staff. And you see it there, a future star in this league.
50-yard punt, but a 24-yard return.
He's just making guys miss. This is all Peppers right now. Not great blocking. Nice spin there. Protects the football. Exciting.
You know what? You see how important special teams is to Jim Harbaugh. You see some of those names on the back of the jerseys on punt return. You see Joe Bolden. You see Desmond Morgan. You see some of the defensive backs. So he has first teamers playing special teams. That'll show you what Jim Harbaugh's trying to do. Rudock wants to throw. Has a bunch of time. Dangerous pass is picked off. Oh, 2 different defenders for UNLV had a chance for it, and it's Fred Wilson who comes away with the football.
They were just running a simple curl route on the inside with a flat receiver to try to pull the coverage to the outside, and Jake is just late with the ball. Just late with the football, and you cannot be late on inside throws like curl routes or in routes. It allowed the defender to break, tip. There's your tip drill right there.
It was Blake Richmond who tipped it, and then Fred Wilson who got the interception.
Good
so
job.
for Rudock now, that is 5 interceptions in 10 quarters as the quarterback at Michigan.
You cannot be late throwing the ball on the inside. That's exactly what happened.
Now UNLV trying to get something positive going. They give it to Whiteley, and Whiteley out across the 45 to the 47.
I'm impressed with Whiteley.
You know what? That was a
hard-nosed runner.
That was Lexington Thomas, his first carry.
Thomas.
I apologize. So we've now seen 3 different tailbacks give it a go for UNLV.
And both of these kids, Whiteley and Thomas, are hard-nosed runners.
My goodness, yeah, Thomas is 165 pounds. When he was running with power, I just assumed that was Whiteley. 5'9", 165-pound back out of Houston is Lexington Thomas. We'll get another carry, and this time doesn't work so well. Ryan Glasgow
Lexington Thomas,
with
the
the
ball
tackle.
carrier. Ryan Glasgow.
Now, Tony Sanchez made his mark as a high school coach. 6 consecutive Nevada State titles at Bishop Gorman. He is a former player at New Mexico State, undergrad assistant there, got his start under Tony Samuel. But his program is so big as a high school coach, winning a national high school championship. He kind of feels it's not that big of a jump to go from high school to UNLV.
What's impressive is he lured 2 veteran coordinators in Barney Cotton and Kent Bear to be on his staff. Those 2 guys probably had a chance to go to some big-time places with big-time coaches.
Ball tapped away. It falls to the ground. That'll bring up 4th down and 3.
But getting back to Coach Sanchez, he lured 2 great coordinators, veteran coordinators, so that says a lot about him. And in talking to Barney Cotton and Kent Bear, they said, hey, I want to be a part of Tony Sanchez's program. We believe in him.
Tony Sanchez said, you know what, when I was at Bishop Gorman, we played a national schedule. We just didn't play local games in Nevada. We played in Florida, we played in California. I had a regular radio show. I was on TV a lot with the TV appearances. I understand what that's all about. We had a huge budget at Bishop Gorman. So he feels, with the exception of recruiting, that it's really just a continuation of what he did at the high school level with Bishop Gorman.
False start. 11 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
Second time on this drive that we have had a procedural penalty against UNLV.
Ball is moved back to the 42-yard
Put it back 5 yards. Jabril Peppers back deep to return the punt from Logan Yunter. Good kick. And fair catch is called for and made at the 10. Jake Rudolph trying to shake off that interception. He'll be back on the field in a moment. One of the best tight ends in the country out of Pickerington, Ohio, Jake Butt. 12 catches in the first 2 games, including a touchdown against Utah. He's the whole package, right, Chuck Long?
Well, I knew when they hired head coach Jim Harbaugh that he was going to get his tight ends involved in the offense heavily, and he's leading the team in receptions along with Darboh.
Drake Johnson into the game for the first time. The handoff goes to the up back. That's Joe Carriage. Picking up 6 yards on first down. We've seen a whole bunch of Davion Smith, a smattering of Ty Isaac, but now Drake Johnson, local kid, Pioneer High School in Ann Arbor, with an opportunity. Drake Johnson wears number 20. He's trying to get back into form, coming off an injury. And now Ty Isaac replaces Johnson in the backfield. Here's Isaac. And he's tackled well in space. Tackle made by Blake Richmond. Let's go to Mike Hall for a T-Mobile studio update.
Eric, you know there's a quarterback switch for Maryland. Caleb Rowe is now the guy, and that's a pretty darn good pass. 70 yards to Tavon Jacobs for a touchdown, and the Terps take a 14-7 lead.
Thank you, Mike. That's the explosive play we're talking about.
Michigan staying with their fullback offense. Here's their triangle offense in the backfield. And UNLV is really playing close to the line of scrimmage. They're ripe for a long ball right here.
Third down carry, power football, and Isaac moves the chains. Tackled by Ryan McAleenan. I'm here to tell you, Ty Isaac was a huge deal in high school. Coming out of the Chicagoland area from Joliet Catholic. He was the best runner to come out of Joliet Catholic since Mike Allstott. There have been great runners at Joliet Catholic over the years. An athletic power southwest of Chicago. Could have went anywhere he wanted to go. Chose USC. Things didn't work out there. Was banged up. Now eligible for the first time to play. He looks the part. 6'3", 228 pounds, and he can run. Another chance for Isaac. Very patient run. Takes his time. Isaac, what kind of speed do you have? Down the sideline. No one's going to catch him. There he goes. Touchdown, Michigan. Well, we figured out where we're going to see an explosive play from, and his name is Ty Isaac.
And there's a second explosive play for Michigan. It's just your power sweep play to the outside. You're going to have to block his wide receivers in this offense. Takes the sweep. He has pulling linemen, patient, has a stiff arm there to break himself free. But you knew that was coming, Eric, because that UNLV defense was too tight at the line of scrimmage. There was nobody in the back end.
Through the first 2 weeks of the season, Michigan did not have one play longer than 30 yards. Already in the first half, they've had 2, both resulting in touchdowns. Ty Isaac, a huge play. Michigan on top of UNLV, 21-0.
Well, this is set up by the center, number 61, Graham Glasgow. Watch him pull right here and block. He's the lead blocker on the play. You love when your center is able to do that. Takes out the first guy and springs Ty Isaac for the big play down the field, and that UNLV defense was too close to the line of scrimmage. There's nobody in the back end, and Michigan made him pay. But that was set up by Graham Glasgow on the pull, kicking out block, to spring Ty Isaac.
Two Chicago area guys combining on that touchdown. This is a returnable kickoff from the goal line. Full head of steam, Aaron Criswell. And Criswell spun down at the 17-yard line. But to put a punctuation on that touchdown by Isaac. 76 yards. It is not only the longest play of 2015. It is the longest play for Michigan since 2012. The longest run since Denard Robinson had a 79-yard scamper against Air Force. Good old shoelace.
And you can see why Ty Isaac was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5-star recruit.
Big deal.
Big back who can run.
First down and 10. Full backfield for UNLV, just trying to get something started. Well, it's not happening right there. Ryan Glasgow, the younger brother of Graham Glasgow, makes the tackle, loss of 1. 21-0 Michigan, steady progress. Touchdowns by Isaac and Chesson, and the defense doing their part. Just 58 total yards allowed. Finally, the big play starting to happen for the Wolverines.
And that was a goal that was coming in. We needed to see it. We're showing it today.
Decker wants to throw. And that is caught. Caught by Anthony Williams. Well, I want to take you back to that comment you said. You said that was one of the goals for Michigan. We talked to the coaching staff. They didn't really seem that concerned about the explosive plays. Were they talking through their teeth?
They do something better than we did, right? They do something more than we did. You know, coaches always like to keep it quiet, but sometimes you remind them of that when you have meetings with them. They go back to their meeting room after that and they say, hey, we need some big plays. We're missing some big plays. We haven't had a 30-yarder yet this year. I bet you that's what happened, Coach Harbaugh, after talking to us, right, Eric?
Third down and 2. Play clock is getting close to 0. Decker gets it off. Little speed sweep, trying to get to the edge. And that will be a first down for UNLV. Lexington Thomas picks up 3 when he needed a pair.
Just a little jet sweep, but this goes down as a pass play because he pitches it forward. So it's a pass completion behind the line of scrimmage. And UNLV has to mix it up like that on offense to be able to move the ball. They just can't get in their set formations or simple formations and try to run the ball down Michigan's throat. They're going to have to mix it up with these kind of formations and gimmicks.
Barney Cotton last year was at Nebraska, actually took over when Bo Pelini was let go, and he was the interim head coach for the Holiday Bowl game for Nebraska, game against USC. Decker out to the 40-yard line before he's brought down rudely. Matt Godin, among others, on the tackle.
Blake
Also
Decker is a
Jordan Lewis.
tough quarterback. He's hurt last week. He's not going down at all. Here he is, not sliding at all. Just taking that Michigan defense on. Tough kid. Playing smart now. He's not throwing the ball real well.
UNLV has not reached midfield so far this afternoon. Incomplete. Trying to find Devontae Boyd. Good defense play.
They're playing a lot of man coverage, a lot of press, bump and run coverage right in the receiver's face. And the reason for that is to knock Blake Decker's rhythm and timing off. Nice coverage there.
That was good coverage. Jordan Lewis's second pass broken up here in the first half. There was some worries that he may not be able to play. He's been the most consistent cover guy for Michigan so far in 2015.
More man coverage for Michigan.
Not much doing there for Whiteley. Well, we talked to DJ Durkin, who's the defensive coordinator. There he is. And I want you to explain this to me, Chuck. He said, we want to reduce the game to technique and effort. What did he mean by that?
Well, it really gets down to that. You can scheme all you want, but at the end of the day, by the fourth quarter, you better rely and trust your technique and give great effort. That's what's going to win on defense. So far, so good for this defense this year and at the beginning of this football game. But that's what it gets down to at the end of the day. for defense or any player. Technique and effort.
3rd down and 8. Rebels need to get to midfield. Great coverage once again. Jordan Lewis like a wet blanket on top of Devontae Boyd.
Jordan Lewis is their best covered corner, but UNLV keeps trying to go after him. I would go after the other side. Jordan Lewis is pretty good now. That's good technique. Whoa. Good job.
Did he actually get the left hand on the ball?
He sure did.
My goodness. 2 passes broken up on that drive alone by Jordan Lewis.
There's your technique that we were talking about. That's excellent technique. Finding the ball and batting it down.
Jordan Lewis from a very important high school in these parts. He's from Cass Tech in Detroit. A lot of players over the years have gone from Cass Tech here to Michigan. Timeout on the field. Michigan on offense when we come back. .428 remaining in our first half. Michigan all over UNLV 21-0 with Chuck Long and Johnny Kane. I'm Eric Collins. Let's see if the life of Jake Rudock changes on this drive. We're talking about him making a big play. Well, Michigan has now shown that they have a running back that make an explosive play, and Ty Isaac, a 78-yard touchdown run. Now, all of a sudden, things open up for Jake Rudock.
Well, they should, and he needs to get in the rhythm of this offense. He's not quite there yet with this offense. He's still learning all the nuances of it. They need to get him coming out of his game with better rhythm and timing and more confidence with this offense.
Davion Smith wrapped up. How different is this offense from the offense that Jake Rudock had playing for Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes?
It's different. A lot more fullback in this offense. The schemes are different than the Iowa schemes, and the language is different. So, you know, 1 year he's had to learn, or one training camp he's had to learn all this. So he's still growing with this offense.
Little quick hitter trying to get the ball out in space. This is Maurice Ways with a catch, and Ways has the first down and then some.
They are breaking tackles very well today. All the runners and pass catchers for Michigan are doing a good job with their stiff arm and making the first guy miss.
Well, Maurice Ways, a sophomore from Detroit, earning playing time with a solid week of practice. That was his first catch of the season, and it's good for 21 yards.
This Michigan offense shows great balance. Going into the game, they were 52% run and 48% pass overall coming into this game. That is excellent balance, and they're continuing that today.
Smith. Ryan McAleenan with the tackle. No gain. Now, one thing that UNLV did really well defensively a week ago, they took the ball away from UCLA. They had 3 interceptions against the Blue. Picked off Rudock once here in the first half. Kent Baird, we talked about the veteran defensive coordinator.
Good mix for the Michigan offense now. Spreading things out.
Blitz is on. It's picked up. Rudock wants a bunch. And that's out of bounds. He was looking for Drake Harris, but Harris never had a chance.
Again, that's Jake Rudock. I put that on him. He's simple fade route or a go route down the sideline to Harris. Needs to keep the ball in bounds and give him a chance. It's okay to throw it with coverage. Just keep it in bounds and let your receiver try to make a play on it. Good drop, good rhythm and timing. Just a little bit more air on the ball and throw it inside. It's more air more than anything.
Well, maybe Michigan has them right where they want them right now. 3rd down. On 3rd down, Michigan has converted 4 out of the 5 times.
But they have not been good on 3rd and long all year.
3rd and 10. Rudock getting antsy in the pocket. Rudock looking for someone. Anyone. Man open deep, but he can't get it there. And Rudock's going to try and run. And he's short of the first down marker. Deep down the right sideline. I don't think Rudock had enough arm strength, but there was a man open.
Well, you saw some scrambling ability by Jake Rudock. Running is not his strength, but he kept it alive. And let's see if he can find someone. It's hard to find people. You see him on the outside briefly down the field here, but he just couldn't see him in time. Made a smart play, just get some yardage to put it in a 4th and manageable here, going for it. Why not? You're up 21. Your defense is playing well.
Jim Drebno, the offensive coordinator, trying to figure out what could work here. 4th down and 1. And play clock went down to 0.
Timeout, Michigan.
Timeout was called before it went to 0. So we'll be back in a moment and see what Michigan wants to do on 4th and 1. Big Ten football continues at 3:30. We've got the Badgers hosting Troy. Then in prime time under the lights, a conference game. Either Rutgers, Penn State. Some will see Iowa against Pitt. That's today on BTN and BTN to go. Go to btn.com/gamefinder. Find the game in your market. After some thought, Jim Harbaugh decides to bring on the punt unit. Blake O'Neal will kick it away. 4th down and 1. Rugby-style kick. Not a great effort. Got caught in the wind and it sails out of bounds. Not much progress made on the kick. So it will be UNLV football in decent field position. It's a punt of 17 yards. Time now for our Marine Corps leader of the game, and it's Desmond Morgan, number 3 in your program. He is a education major, says he wants to be a principal when his football career is over with. 3.4 GPA. Coming off a significant injury a year ago, but he's 100% for his senior season. He is the only member of this year's team that was recruited to Michigan by Rich Rodriguez. He's the only scholarship. 5-year player. Oh, that ball's knocked loose. It's still loose, and it's going to be UNLV ball. Chris Wormley knocked it away. Looked like he had a chance to come up with a football, but somehow it's recovered by Lexington Thomas.
When you talk to offensive coordinator Barney Cotton of UNLV, he said that's been a problem last week, is just the handoff fumble. Not handing the ball off properly. That's been a problem for them so far this year. You're seeing it again today. That was a goal of theirs not to do that today. So far, that has not been the case.
Clock continuing to move. I don't know if UNLV wants to be that aggressive here. Michigan does have 2 timeouts if they want to stop the clock. And Decker is tackled by the shoelaces. Maurice Hurst calling his name for the first time.
I'm surprised that Michigan is not stopping the clock here on a 3rd and long with 2 timeouts left to try to get the ball back, especially with a 21-0 lead. Get a little 2-minute drill for your quarterback to try to get him into rhythm.
Michigan will have the ball to begin the second half. And maybe that's good enough.
And that's what he's thinking, obviously, at this point. But you want to try to get your quarterback in a 2-minute drill and get him that experience. It'll help down the road.
UNLV snaps it with 5 on the play clock. And that'll be Xavier Campbell out close to the original line of scrimmage. Desmond Morgan on the tackle.
Just a simple off-tackle play.
Clock is stopped at 15 seconds. I didn't see anyone call timeout. Why is the clock stopped? That was not a first down gained.
Just a matter of spotting the ball.
You know, now the spot is being questioned.
Offside, defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 3rd down.
We didn't see the penalty flag drop, but it was offsides on the defense. So some time will need to be added to the clock. At the top of your screen, Channing Stribling, the cornerback. So clock's moving again. UNLV doesn't need to snap it or choose to. And it'll be a positive gain. Oh, this is the fullback out to midfield. There is a flag down. George Nofaho is the carrier.
Wayne Lyons made the tackle.
And depending on the decision, That may be the final play of our first half. It's going to go against UNLV.
I would imagine he'll decline this going at halftime. Be the last play.
Well, because Michigan declines the penalty on the very last play when it really didn't mean anything in the first half, UNLV crosses midfield. So the Rebels get into Michigan territory for the first time as the first half ends here in Ann Arbor. Well, after our commercial break, we will have the Buffalo Wild Wings halftime report coming your way. So far, so good for Michigan on top, 21-0. Minutes in the books. Michigan looking for their second consecutive win. BTN football presented by the United States Marine Corps. UNLV in a deep hole. Michigan on top by a score of 21-0. Let's go down the field and check in with Johnny Kane, who checked in with Jim Harbaugh.
Well, Coach Harbaugh said he was pleased with the way his guys defended the pass. Of course, they held Blake Decker and that UNLV offense just 20 yards through the air. But he says, hey, we got our hands on the football. The interception was big. As far as his running game, 171 yards on the ground. I said, you're imposing your will. Should we expect more of the same in the second half? He said, well, yeah, we're going to continue to run the football. But he wants to turn up the intensity on the defensive end. And offensively, he wants to be fast and physical because they're averaging only 8 yards per play, guys.
Johnny, thank you so much. Take a look at our Quicken Loans quarterback comparison. Chuck Long, what did you see between Decker and Rudock?
Well, not great percentage by either one of them today, especially by Blake Decker. You know, you want to get at least above 50%. But I want to see more out of Jake Rudock in rhythm and timing. And I know Coach Jim Harbaugh wants to run the ball in the second half, and they will continue to do so. But it'd be nice to get your quarterback with some good rhythm and timing throws, get him hot a little bit coming out of this football game. Let's see if he goes to the arrow just a little bit more than what he did in the first half.
Yeah, Jake Rudock coming in with 4 interceptions. That other interception that he threw back in the first quarter means he's now been picked off 5 times so far through the first 10 quarters of his Michigan career.
And that's just a sign that he's still trying to get used to this new offense. You know, you got to keep in mind he hadn't been here very long. He didn't have a spring ball either. He came in the summertime, and basically training camp was his first indoctrination to this offense. So he's still learning a little bit. It may take him a little while to get it all down, but the big thing is, hey, don't be late with the football. And if he could just get some better rhythm and timing in his throws and be more decisive, he'll do a lot better job.
Michigan will start on offense. Got a good read on what Jim Harbaugh's thinking about. His team won the toss to begin the game and elected to put his defense on the field, make a statement defensively, and then once everyone's greased up and ready to go, play a little offense to begin the second half.
Well, he knows he has a good defense, and he knew that coming into the season. They were good last year, and they had just about everybody back, especially his key players. So he knew he had a good defense coming this year. He's playing right to that.
Michigan has had great returners over the years. Charles Woodson, Desmond Howard. Best athlete returns the kicks here in Ann Arbor, and that tradition continuing with Jabril Peppers back deep. He's the sole punt returner. He is the focused kickoff returner. And with a little bit of wind here, the ball is going to be held onto the tee. Nikolai Bornand. And this will not be Peppers. It will scoot past J.U. Chesson, and it'll be a touchback.
Bornand's kick goes out of
Oh, he did a smart job kicking away from Jabril Peppers. Well, kick to him.
You know, Jake Rudock has always been surrounded by talent. Before he was an Iowa Hawkeye, he played at St. Thomas Aquinas down in South Florida. That is a high school football factory. Played with James White, the former tailback at Wisconsin. Played with Giovanni Bernard, who played at North Carolina and now is with the Cincinnati Bengals. Played with Gabe Holmes, former tight end at Purdue, now in the league. Duron Carter, Chris Carter's son, was a wide receiver on that team. Carter is now in the NFL as well. Drake Johnson is the deep back. They give it to the fullback. Joe Carriage picks up 2 yards on first down. Jake Rudock likes to spread the football around. That's what they have here at Michigan. Receivers by committee. This was game number 1 against Utah. 9 different players had a catch. 9 different players had a catch against Oregon State. But so far, not nearly as much spreading of the wealth.
Not as much today because they're running the ball a little bit more, but they do a great job of spreading out to all their wide receivers, and that's great balance within your offense.
Johnson. Get the feet moving quickly. Picked up 3. It'll bring up 3rd down. Drake Johnson, local kid. Every time he touches the football, fans acknowledge him.
The key for success in this offense is getting into the 3rd and manageable situations, which is what they are right now. It's not a long yardage type offense. In other words, they don't want to get in 3rd and longs in this offense. They have not been good in that situation. This is where they want to be. We have a spread set here with 1 back.
Michigan 4 for 6 on 3rd downs in the first half. Out of the backfield, wide open. It was Johnson, but Rudock just couldn't get it there. He had a pass rusher in his face, and the pass was wide of the mark.
They just need a little bit more touch on that football by Rudock. And a little bit more out in front. He threw it behind. He's had a case of that today, just throwing behind the receivers. Just a little bit more air leading up the field. That's a tough catch to make. And that's what Coach Harbaugh is telling them. Hey, just put a little air on the ball out in front. He was gone. He had plenty of daylight in front of him. Probably would have scored a touchdown. There was nobody over there.
First time that Michigan has gone 3 and out. Blake O'Neal, another rugby-style kick, and this one a boomer. Into the wind, it goes over the head of Whiteley and out of bounds at the 11-yard line. That's how you do it. 59 yards, no return on that punt from O'Neal. That's his new high on the year. Had been 50 yards for a long, but O'Neal blows that away. 59 yards on a punt. And Tony Sanchez and UNLV pinned back close to their own goal line.
Well, it's been the long field for UNLV all day. They have to find a big play in here somewhere to flip the field position. Michigan's definitely playing to that as well. And as you mentioned, they've only crossed the 50. UNLV's only crossed the 50 1 time.
Whiteley wrapped up in the backfield. No chance to get going. Right at the line of scrimmage, the tackle is made. Matt Godin had a big first half. Starts off strong here in the 3rd quarter.
When I watched Michigan's defense, I felt that the way to attack them is on the edge, not up the middle. And here UNLV is trying to get up the middle on them. That's going to be tough. They are vulnerable on the edge if they can get there. Man coverage on the outside for Michigan.
Whiteley trying to get to that edge, and the boundary comes up real quick. He's knocked out of bounds. That'll be a loss. James Ross, Mario Ojemudia on the tackle.
And this Michigan defense is hugging the line of scrimmage. They have their press coverage on the outside, allows their linebackers to get tired to the line of scrimmage. There's nowhere to go right now for this UNLV offense. And now they have them pinned down in a 3rd and long. You have to be careful here as an offense, as a quarterback, when throwing the football.
Delano Hill close to the line of scrimmage from one of his safety spots. Michigan rushes 4 and no chance. Joe Bolden, Johnny on the spot. Whiteley goes down. You gotta love the way Joe Bolden plays. He and Desmond Morgan, the guts of that defense.
They are playing very well inside again. UNLV trying to go up the middle on that great Michigan defense. Nowhere to go. Head coach Tony Sanchez is just wanting to play for the punt there. Obviously, that's why he didn't throw the football in a tough situation, just trying to play the punt.
Surprised to hear DJ Durkin, the defensive coordinator, tell us yesterday that Joe Bolden needs to be more consistent. Bolden's a senior, been around for a while. Son of a coach, he doesn't mind being coached. So you tell him to be more consistent, he'll figure things out. Jabril Peppers fields that punt, no return. Timeout on the field. Michigan, their second chance here in the second half. Back in a moment. There is the famous cube here on the campus of the University of Michigan. How does it do that? Got to go to the engineering school to figure out how to do that. The cube on its axis. 21-0 Michigan on top of UNLV. Last possession for Michigan resulted in a 3-and-out. Drake Johnson, second consecutive carry, and Johnson powers across the 50. Good gain on first down.
That was the same play they scored on with Ty Isaac on the sweep, with Graham Glasgow leading the way. Center pulling out, leading the way. Went back to that power sweep on the outside, and that's what Jim Harbaugh will do. Hey, if plays are working, he'll go back to it.
Khalid Hill checks in. He goes in motion, number 80. Now reverses field. Play action. Rudock got antsy in the pocket, and he'll dive forward and pick up the first down.
That was good coverage by UNLV. He had nowhere to go with the football there. Well covered. They tried a nice play action bomb, and good blocking up front, but they were well covered down the field. A good, smart play by Jake Rudock there.
All right, Chuck Long, you're considered a quarterback whisperer. We've talked about Jake Rudock and the difference between the offense in Iowa and here, but what about the route tree? Are there different patterns that are run at different programs?
The route tree is the same everywhere. It's how you combine all those routes that are different from program to program. But the route tree remains the same. It's just how you combine them. It changes it up.
Davion Smith, he had 8 carries in the first quarter. This is only his 3rd carry since. We've seen a lot of Drake Johnson. We've seen a lot of Ty Isaac. And we haven't seen Derek Green.
A lot of first down running right here by Michigan. His first down play, and UNLV again had all 11 near the line of scrimmage, knowing full well that that's been their tendency all day long. Michigan running on first down. See if they set that up with a play action down the road on first down.
Isaac replaces Smith. Jake Butt goes in motion. Out in the flat, this is Darboh. Makes the first man miss. He's got the first down. Oh, no, he stepped out of bounds prior to getting the first down. He's out of bounds at the 37-yard line.
What I'm impressed with is the strength of these wide receivers from Michigan. Darboh making the first guy miss with a good stiff arm. They are strong after the catch, these Michigan wide receivers.
So because Darboh went out of bounds, it is 3rd down and 1. Power formation. Smith's back in at the tailback. Joe Carriage is the fullback. And Smith stood up in the line. I don't think he got it.
Did not get it.
Wow, nice defensive play. Mike Hughes, he's the best defensive tackle that UNLV has. Sniffed it out and throws Davion Smith to the ground.
Pulling right guard. This is your power play. Defensive coordinator Kent Baer said this is the play we have to stop from Michigan. They certainly did that.
Tom Strobel into the game wearing number 50 as an extra tight end. There are 3 tight ends in the game along with a fullback for Michigan.
They have an unbalanced line here.
They'll do it again. And I don't know. I don't think so.
Did not make it.
Davion Smith is denied. This time Najee Johnson with the tackle.
They tried 2 power plays. What I mean by that is a pulling guard to lead the way. They tried 2 of those in a row, and UNLV did a great job of stopping it. Obviously practiced it all week long. Your pulling guard, Ben Braden, couldn't make the block. Great job by UNLV sniffing that play out twice in a row. That is a Michigan staple. They stopped it twice in short yardage.
Michigan with 192 rushing yards. But there they come up just a yard short. And now the spot on the catch and run by Darboh is so important. Here's Kirk Palandek. He's in at quarterback for the first time. Palandek hands it off. He is a sophomore out of the Chicagoland area. He is from Plainfield, Illinois. He's just in his 3rd year out of high school, but the guy's been somewhat of a nomad. Spent a year playing at the FCS level at North Dakota. Said, that's not what I want to do. He played last year at a junior college. This year, his first at UNLV. This guy more of a runner than the other quarterback, Blake Decker.
He's a runner with a strong arm. He does have arm talent. He's just not quite there yet with the system and growing with the system yet. It'll take some time, but he is a good runner and dangerous that way.
Play action. Little smart pass to get him going. The pass is complete. That'll be enough for a first down. Pickup of 8 yards.
And you mentioned smart pass, Eric. That's exactly right. When you have a young quarterback who's not progressed enough in your passing game with your offense, throw a little bootleg. It's just a little simple rollout. It's really a one receiver route. If he's not open, you run the ball. So they're playing to his strength.
Just 28 passing yards now for UNLV. First down at 10. That didn't work out very well. Ryan Glasgow, among others, with the tackle. Ryan is the younger of the brothers.
It's a quarterback read game, and Palandek probably should have pulled and ran himself. That was a wrong read.
There is Coach Craig Madison, former defensive coordinator, now in charge of the defensive line. He thinks he's got a really good group.
Coach Harbaugh did a good job in retaining Greg Madison, one of the best coaches in the country.
Palandek, another safe throw, and it's complete. This time Andrew Price with the catch. First time we've called Price's name. Junior tight end out of Blaine, Washington.
Offensive coordinator Barney Cotton keeping the ball on the outside. Simple throws for Palandek. Watch the face mask there. Almost had it. But he's keeping those throws safe for his new quarterback. That's smart play calling. Get him off on a good start, on the right start.
This will be the first snap in Michigan territory for UNLV. They reached midfield on the last play of the first half, but this is their first snap in Michigan territory. And it's unproductive. Good defense played by Jabril Peppers. He was covering Anthony Williams.
And UNLV just tried the same play to the other side. They're keeping the call simple. But Michigan was all over that one. A lot of man-to-man coverage for the Michigan defense. They're not afraid to bump and run today all day long, especially on a great receiver in Devontae Boyd of UNLV. They're press coverage on him all day as well.
Well, they got good athletes that can play close to the line. Stripling 6'2". Jordan Lewis just 5'10", but he's built. Jeremy Clark, who plays a lot, 6'4" as a corner. Palandek in trouble, goes down. Taco Charlton, Maurice Hurst. Whole bunch of Wolverines in that mix to bring down the quarterback and force third down.
And the coverage made that happen too. They're playing a lot of man coverage and allowing that rush to get there. Good pressure by the front of Michigan. Nowhere to go for Palandek there, but he just eat the ball and get down. That's all you could do.
You saw they brought the corner. Jordan Lewis came in on the blitz. If you're ever going to commit a quarterback, you want him to get there in time, make a difference. 3rd and 14. Palandek. Oh, man, that play had no chance. Wolverines everywhere. They may have played with 15 guys on defense. Caught at the line of scrimmage. My goodness. There were 3 guys in the face of the quarterback and 3 guys immediately on the receiver who caught the ball.
One of the plays you try to do against man coverage is a wide receiver screen, and that's what UNLV tried to do, is a wide receiver screen, and Michigan was all over that. Nice coverage and reaction to the wide receiver screen, because that's a hit or miss play. Those could go for 50 if you're not careful. Good job by Michigan's defense.
Chance for Jabril Peppers to make a play. And that'll go into the end zone for a touchback. Michigan on offense, leading 21-0. Michigan leading 21-0. For more on Jim Harbaugh and how he coaches his team, let's check in with Johnny Kane.
Well, Eric, after Michigan came up short there on 3rd down and 4th down, Harbaugh came over to his offensive line and was animated, as I will call it there. Remember, he said coming out of halftime he wanted to be fast and physical on offense. They want to reestablish their dominance on the line of scrimmage there using those 3 running backs, Drake Johnson, Ty Isaac, and Davion Smith. So we'll see if they go back to it here, guys.
Yeah, they keep Drake Johnson into the game. It was Davion Smith who carried it twice and wasn't able to get the first down. They try and get Johnson to the outside, and Johnson gets there. He barrels out to the 30-yard line. Good gain on first down.
Well, that's their best play of the day. That's the power sweep with Graham Glasgow, their center, number 61, leading the way. Scored a touchdown with Isaac early in the game. And Coach Harbaugh says, hey, this is the best play we have right now. Let's go back to it.
Second down and 1. And now to prove that they can get one tough yard, they run the football, and Johnson gets a yard, but that's it. So it'll be a first down for Michigan. Michigan does have 2 explosive plays on offense. Both happened in the first half. It was a wide receiver run by J.U. Chesson for a touchdown, 32 yards. And then a long touchdown run by Ty Isaac, 76 yards for Isaac.
Let's see if they go to a boot or a play action pass here on first down. They haven't thrown the ball on first down at all.
They fake it to Isaac. Designed rollout to fullback Carriage. And he's tackled in space at the 38-yard line, and Carriage is in pain. Carriage had the legs taken out by Blake Richmond, and he is hurting right now.
What happens because of tackling rules,
Timeout for an injured
you can't
player.
go high anymore on players, so you have to go low to make tackles. That's where knees get hurt. Ankles, things of that nature. It's a good solid tackle, but that's within the rules. But that's your bootleg play that they need to do on first down.
Yeah, Joe Carriage, one of the captains on this year's team, being looked at on the far sideline. At least preliminarily, that is a great sign. Joe Carriage, really the guts and the brawn behind that offense for Michigan. He is going off the field on his own power. He had his legs taken out a moment ago, catching a swing pass from Rudock on first down. Jim Harbaugh took off the headset and went all the way across the field to see about his 5th-year senior.
Here's the catch and run. Good solid tackle, because you have to stay low more now. Looks like he just got his ankle twisted on the ground.
So we will monitor whether or not we see more of Joe Carriage and try and get you a report. Ty Isaac, little counter. And Isaac barrels forward to the 45-yard line. That'll be enough for a first down. 5 yards on that gain. Chuck, we should go back. That pass play to Carriage was only the 4th time today that Michigan has thrown the football on first down.
Well, it's first down, play action, or bootlegs in this offense. He doesn't do much drop back on first down. Saves the drop back on third downs. And there you finally saw a bootleg pass. And those are passes you need to get your quarterback going a little bit.
Sione Homa in as the fullback, replacing Carriage, and they give it to Homa.
This is old-time Michigan football right here. Using your fullback in the run game as well as your tailback.
I'm going to ask you, is old-time football still relevant? Can you still win playing the Michigan way that they played under Bo Schembechler? Is that still applicable in 2015?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe there's a place for any system as long as you get your players to believe in your system and work at it.
Johnson across midfield. That'll bring up third down. Michigan has had 8 different ball carriers so far this afternoon. They've gone over 200 rushing yards as a team. And let's see if they try and make a statement here. It's going to be third down and 3. You've got this power offense. You've got all these tight ends, all these fullbacks. You throw a pass or just try and run the football?
I believe they're going to go for a throw at 3rd and 3 unless they decided already to go for it on 4th down. But I believe it's going to be a throw here.
Out of the shotgun, Rudock steps up in the pocket, flashes a good arm off the fingertips. Looking for Amara Darbo. That's generally who they go to when they're looking for a big play.
Yeah, and that's not really what you want on a 3rd and 3. You don't want to throw it down the field like this. That's a tough throw and catch to make. I mean, he made a nice throw here, but you want to go underneath one of your underneath receivers on a 3rd and 3.
So Michigan again kept off the scoreboard here in the 3rd quarter. Michigan had 7 points in the 1st quarter, 14 in the 2nd, but nothing here after halftime, and we are under a minute to play in the 3rd quarter. 31-yard punt, no return. Back to the Big House in a moment. Now the sun has just peeked through the clouds here in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and even more reason to smile. Joe Carriage, he was smiling a moment ago. We were watching him in that commercial break, and we're hoping he's not that significantly injured. It looks like he's got some ice on his ankle. We're told he's not going to return for the rest of the day. There's a flag down. Was that an interception? No catch. New quarterback Blake Decker. His pass ended up in the hands of Jared Wilson, but the ball skipped on the field turf.
There's a flag on the play. It might be pass interference on Michigan.
Pass interference. Defense.
Good eyes.
Number 34. 15-yard penalty. 1st down.
It looked like Jordan Lewis was all over the wide receiver, running down the field when the ball was in the air. And sometimes when you play a lot of bump and run coverage, press coverage, you're going to get caught. You're going to get caught. Right here was a penalty just all over him.
It was on Jeremy Clark, who got whistled.
Jeremy Clark.
Converted safety, now playing corner and doing it well.
You're going to have that happen sometimes in press coverage, a pass interference.
Blake Decker wants to throw, throws a pretty ball, but that had no chance. It's picked off. Michigan's got the football, and it's that man again. Don't go testing Jeremy Clark.
And Jeremy Clark did a great job that he did not do the play before. He looked back for the football and made a great play off the interception, off bump and run, which is very hard to do. Coach Sanchez is saying throw the ball a little higher and outside. Great job by Clark. Good technique. And watch him look back for the ball at the last second. Perfect technique. He stays with it. Great play on bump and run. And that's very difficult to do, an interception off a bump and run coverage. Look at him hang with that football.
Defensive coaches talk about ball skills. Jeremy Clark, he's got him. That is now the 3rd interception on the year for Michigan. 2nd one this afternoon.
What you love about it is he corrected himself after the previous play where he made the mistake and not looking back for the ball. That's coaching right there. Well-coached team.
Michigan looking for a sudden change, and that play never really happened. Michigan calls a timeout with the play clock winding down.
Timeout. Michigan. It's a 30-second timeout.
We will be back quickly here to the Big House in
Please
Ann Arbor.
reset the game clock for 35 seconds.
It's in full swing right here on BTN. Big Ten football continues 3:30 Eastern. The Badgers hosting Troy and Madison. Then at primetime, you'll see either Rutgers, Penn State. That's the first conference game of 2015. Some will see Iowa taking on Pitt. That's today on BTN and BTN to go. Go to btn.com/gamefinder to find the game in your market. Ty Isaac breaks that first wall. He emerged out of nowhere and gets out to the 44-yard line. This kid has got some thump.
Well, he's living up to his hype today. You know, as we mentioned, a former 5-star recruit coming out of high school. He's showing why he was that big running back. That hole was plugged up. He just kept his feet moving, balance, and used his power and strength for more yardage.
15 yards for Isaac. He goes over the century mark for the first time as a college player. 105 yards for Ty Isaac. The 3rd quarter draws to a close. Neither team able to put any points on the board, but the shutout still intact for the Wolverines. Michigan on top of UNLV, 21-0. Welcome back, everyone. University of Michigan on top of UNLV, 21-0, getting ready for our 4th quarter. BTN football presented by the United States Marine Corps. Michigan doing what they want to do, run the football. Ty Isaac is this week's star, 105 rushing yards. That is a lot more than UNLV has as an entire team. Isaac still in the backfield. Rudock wants to throw. Rudock's pass is complete. He gets it to Jake Butt. It's been a quiet game for the junior tight end. That's his first catch.
That's your play action on first down, which what Jim Harbaugh wants to do, and that's a good, solid pass play just to get a completion for Jake Rudock. Finally went to his big tight end, but good rhythm and timing on that throw.
Number 56, his helmet came off and must leave the field.
2nd down and 1 after the 9-yard gain. Michigan still playing with that same front wall. Mason Cole, Ben Braden, Graham Glasgow, Kyle Kalis, Eric Magnuson. They have been super healthy through the first 2 games and 3 quarters. Ty Isaac has the first down. Let's go to Mike Hall for a T-Mobile studio update.
Eric, the Gophers defense pitched a shutout in the first half, but their offense giving up points early on in the second. Rashad still had the ball, but then Demetrius Monday rips it and scoops it, and he's scoring 80 yards, meaning the Gophers now into the 4th quarter up by only 3.
Uh-oh, trouble time in Minneapolis. Gary Pill's team, good 4th quarter team though. Another helmet pops off. That is a 4-yard run for Ty Isaac. Cowho will have to sit this play out. 2nd down and 6. Ty Isaac out of Joliet Catholic. He's actually from Shorewood, Illinois, but went to high school in Joliet. Originally went to USC. Things didn't work out, but a big time back. Coming back to the Midwest. 6'3", 228 pounds of thunder. They fake it to Isaac. Rudock throws a laser beam. It's caught. That'll be another first down for Michigan. J.U. Chesson continues with a big afternoon.
And Jim Harbaugh set that play up. It's a 2nd medium, and usually that's a rundown. And he set up with a heavy play action pass. And as you mentioned, Eric, Jake Rudock threw a dart the outside. That's a long throw to make. He's starting to find some rhythm and timing in this passing game.
What's the best throw that Jake Rudock throws?
That one right there, the outside throw on the out route or the comeback throw. He needs to work on his inside throws as time goes on in the season.
96 yards through the air for Rudock. He's thrown touchdowns and been picked once. Out in space, Drake Harris, one man to beat. He's wrapped up at the 5 and thrown out of bounds. Tim Huff saved a touchdown, a pickup of 8.
What Jake Rudock is doing there, that's a design run play with a wide receiver hitch on the outside. If the corner is soft enough, he's going to throw the ball instead of handing the ball off to his running back. So it's a 2-in-1 type of play, run-pass option. He took the pass that time.
Power formation. 2 tight ends in the game, one of them, Henry Poggi. Ty Isaac, the deep back, behind Siona Homa. Isaac cut it back in, and there was simply nothing there.
That was that power sweep they've been really good at all day long with the center, Glasgow, pulling. This time UNLV sniffed it out and said, hey, enough of this. You're going to have to go to another play in your playbook.
Ty Isaac has more yards rushing than UNLV has total as a team. Michigan has not been denied in the red zone this year. 7 touchdowns, 2 field goals in 9 trips.
And the reason why is they can run the ball very well. You need to be able to run the ball in the red zone. That's how you become effective.
Darbo, top of your screen, the only wide receiver in the game. Homa out of the backfield. Homa, touchdown. The senior from Salt Lake City gets to the end zone for the first time in 2015. Sione Homa puts 6 on the board, and Michigan, their lead swells to 27.
Great use of fullbacks in this offense. He's their 3rd fullback behind Carriage and Poggi. Homa with a little flat pass, and that was a good series for Jake Rudock, just getting into the rhythm and timing of the offense. Little play action pass. 1-2 reads, just 2 receiver reads.
Ruling on the field,
drops it down to Homa for the touchdown.
The previous play is under further review.
Yeah, no reason not to. They'll look a little bit longer to make sure he did. Cross the goal line, chuck some roll reversal. The fullback Homa got a nice block from the tailback, Isaac, to get into the end zone.
Yeah, here it is right here. Just a little flat pass. Good accuracy by Rudock. Nice catch. He bobbled it a little bit. Then lowers that shoulder. Looks like Jake Butt was out there to block. Looked like he was into me. There it is right here.
The knee's
the
down,
knee is
but
down.
where was the ball? The knee is down, but where was the ball? Had it crossed the end line. It only needs to hit the very front of that white line.
Right. Needs to break the plane of the goal line before the knee goes down.
I think it's possible Jim Harbaugh maybe hopes they didn't get in there so he can get the chance to put the fullbacks in the game again and just power it in.
Knowing Jim, he's probably thinking the same thing. We need to work on our power game on the goal line offense. He bobbled the ball a little bit.
Now the ruling on the field is touchdown, so you need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call. And I don't know if that exists.
After review, the runner's knee was down with the ball at the half-yard line. It'll be first and goal.
They saw the knee go down. Again, this is probably what Jim Harbaugh wants anyway. Work on a little goal line offense.
So take the touchdown away from Homa. He comes off the sideline and goes back into that huddle. Maybe they'll give it to him again. A.J. Williams checks in as a tight end. It'll be first down and goal. 3 tight end formation. Homa in front of Isaac. Homa's got a touchdown. A little bit of delayed gratification, but he's beaming right now.
I love that play call from Jim Harbaugh. You know, he didn't get in. Homa didn't get in the last time. Let's give it to him again. Get him a touchdown. Nice job. Good play calling. Get your players involved.
And how about this? Sione Homa scores his first career touchdown for the second time. 2 touchdowns for Homa, we thought, in the last 2 minutes. That one actually is going to count, and he'll remember that one deep into his retirement. Kenny Allen, extra point is true. The lead is 28-0. Michigan feeling real good about themselves right now. Jim Harbaugh knows what he's doing. He made Sione Homa very happy. Gave him the ball with an opportunity to score. Didn't forget about him. And Homa, who does so much of the dirty work, the blocking, the special teams, he'll remember that. He'll have a little extra bounce to his step this week in practice, scoring his first career touchdown.
What I love about Jim Harbaugh, he gets all of his players involved in his offense and defense. There's a number of players that are getting playing time, and it makes practice go a lot better. When you know, hey, I may get the ball this week. Makes it exciting in practice during the week, knowing that he might get the football. He has done a great job getting everybody involved so far this year.
4 touchdowns by 4 different players in today's game. Let's go to Mike Hall for a T-Mobile studio update.
Eric, the SAT Bowl, Northwestern and Duke, and the Wildcats had nothing going on offense in the first half. So to open up the second half, this is Solomon Vault. The offense had only 57 total yards in the first half. Vault had 97 and didn't even get touched on this kickoff return. Point after was blocked, so the Cats lead by 2.
Thank you, Mike. Pat Fitzgerald's bunch trying to get to 3-0. Interesting to note that both Northwestern and Illinois, 2 schools from Prairie State, are both playing about 15 minutes apart from each other. Right. In the Research Triangle down in North Carolina this afternoon, UNC is hosting Bill Cupid's Fighting Illini. Keith Whiteley on that carry. UNLV's offense has been stuck in the mud so far this afternoon. Maybe it's the Wolverines' defense doing it to them. Michigan's defense so far this season, 4th in points per game, 15 points allowed on average, 3rd in total yards, 4th in passing yards allowed. But if you prorate today's numbers, that's going to go way down. In space, Jake Phillips, his first catch, wrapped up at the 42-yard line and brought down. 13-yard pickup for the reserve tight end, Blake Decker, trying to get some points on the board. UNLV being shut out through 3 quarters.
And they have Blake Decker back in the game because just for that reason, they need some points. They need to get some kind of positive coming out of this football game, drive the ball and get some points. That's why Blake Decker's back in the game.
Xavier Campbell in the backfield, showing blitz. Here comes Jeremy Clark. It's picked up. Oh, my, what a play. Good grab in space. This has got a chance. Down to the 10-yard line, down to the 6. That is the biggest play of the day for UNLV. Devontae Boyd with a catch with a defender draped all over him. 53 yards for Boyd.
And that's your live by the blitz, die by the blitz. They came with the corner blitz, as you said, and Decker did a nice job of throwing it up to Boyd with a little air. Perfect strike against that man coverage.
That's a mismatch. They had the safety, Delano Hill, trying to stay with the best receiver for UNLV. And Devontae Boyd wins that battle.
Timeout.
And Decker knew it, and he basically threw it up there before the corner blitz got to him. So Decker really made that play happen.
That is Hill who was down. He was the man in coverage on Boyd, and you saw after Boyd made the catch, Hill did not have his normal speed to try and catch up. So Hill will have to leave the game.
As you mentioned, Eric, Hill was on. He's a safety. He's a big player. He doesn't have the corner speed, and he had to cover the best receiver for UNLV and Boyd off that corner blitz. That's a tough matchup. And again, Michigan's trying to get home with that blitz. They just didn't get home. Decker made a nice job getting the ball off with some air to his best receiver.
If you're a Michigan defender, do you understand, do you realize that you're pitching a shutout right now? You haven't allowed any points. There's a chance to have a rare shutout.
Oh, you realize that. And there's a lot of pride right now with that defense. They want to shut them out.
First down play, nothing doing. Xavier Campbell thwarted right at the line of scrimmage.
I think they do know that they can shut this team out.
Joe Bolden.
They're just a simple inside zone play, and they have too many folks at the hole. Not enough blockers. One block guy in the hole. You saw the result.
One-on-one coverage, top of your screen. If the Rebels want to throw it. And they do. End zone, touchdown, Devontae Boyd.
They put Boyd on the inside as a slot receiver against one of the nickelback, which is not a good inside defender as your corners. Good job of matching up your best receiver against a not so good cover man on the inside, and they found the mismatch against Wilson. Good job, good mismatch and good play.
UNLV their first touchdown since week 1 against Northern Illinois. Nikolai Bornand with the extra point. And it's 7 points. Touchdown, extra point. Nice drive. UNLV on the board. Later tonight, college football, Fox Sports 1. You're going to see the 12th ranked UCLA Bruins taking on BYU. BYU, all they do is win thrillers. Coverage begins 10:30 Eastern time on Fox Sports 1. Now the Michigan Wolverines are going to have the football back. They just allowed their first touchdown since early in the first quarter of last week's game against Oregon State. 6 consecutive shutout quarters. And that comes to an end. Touchdown pass, Decker to Boyd. Real Peppers back deep to return his kickoff. They start at the 5. Full head of steam for Peppers. Looking for a crease. Didn't dilly-dally too much. Gets out across the 35 to the 37.
Football on BTN is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by Echo Outdoor Power Equipment. Only professional grade. Get serious. Get Echo.
Well, 108,000 plus. It's Big House. Just a huge crowd as per usual. What Jake Rudock wanted. Wanted to finish off his college experience playing here in Ann Arbor, and he's enjoying himself so far. Rudock completes that pass to Amara Darbo and gets out close to midfield.
Let's go back to the touchdown at Jared Wilson on their best receiver in Devontae Boyd. And this is what happens. It's a good matchup for UNLV. Too fast for a safety. Well executed, good throw.
And something to build on if you're UNLV. They scored just 3 points last week in their loss against UCLA. This is Drake Johnson. Johnson gets to the edge. The flag comes down. Flag thrown behind the play at midfield. That will be a pickup of 10 if it stands.
Personal foul. Clipping. Number 52 on the offense. 15-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Mason Cole called for the infraction. Second-year starter, just a sophomore. Out of Tarpon Springs, Florida. Very intelligent player, coaching staff telling.
That's your big left tackle. Look at the top of the screen
Penalty
here.
puts the ball back to the 31-yard line.
Yeah, good call.
Second and 16.
That's that power sweep. They handed it off instead of pitch at that time, trying to get to that play another way.
Rudock, his pass is complete. Jake Butt, that is catch number 2 on the afternoon.
Jake Rudock is really good at underneath throws. That's his strength. Underneath to the outside, basically outside the hashes in the middle of the field is where he's really good. Coming across, he's looking down the field with his eyes, and he goes underneath to Jake Butt. Threw behind him a little bit. He needs to work on that, but he's starting to get better rhythm and timing. He's starting to get a better feel in this offense, and he's gaining some more confidence as his game's coming to an end.
Rudock has hit his last 6 passes. Well, it's a bunch here. Incomplete. He spun Amara Darbo around. A better pass may have been 7 consecutive completions.
Yeah, he's missing his target on the outside there, and he double hitched in the pocket. He took 2 hitches in the pocket and threw it instead of just 1 hitch. A little late with the football, spun Darbo around there. That makes it a difficult catch. Again, just get the ball off on time with 1 hitch instead of 2 in the pocket. Will give him better rhythm and timing down the field.
Blake O'Neal. Good kick with the wind at his back. Oh my, inside the 10-yard line. Keith Whiteley makes the catch upon it. 54 yards, no return. Welcome back, everyone, to Ann Arbor. Later tonight, college football's on Fox Sports 1. The 12th-ranked UCLA Bruins taking on BYU. Coverage begins at 10:30 Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1. UCLA's got a young quarterback that people are buzzing about. Okay, UNLV, they've got the football. Last drive, their quarterback Decker went 3 for 3 for 72 yards and a score. Xavier Campbell, true freshman from Houston, picks up 4 yards.
There's an outside zone stretch play. Again, I thought that's where you can get to that edge on Michigan. You'll get some positive yards, and they're trying to do that right now late in the game. Trying to get another drive like they did last drive as the game's coming to a close to give your offense something positive going into next week.
Ben Gideon in at one of the linebacking spots, number 42. He generally rotates in. Decker's pass is too hot to handle, went right through the fingertips. Trying to get it to Devontae Boyd.
They put Devontae Boyd on the outside now, and they've had no such luck today. It's been great coverage by the Michigan corners. That was a little comeback pass they tried to get. They've been running the fade route. They tried to come back off of that. Still couldn't get it. They can't get Devontae Boyd loose on this Michigan secondary.
Delano Hill back into the game. That's a great sign. Had to be helped off the field earlier in this fourth quarter. Pass is complete. Tackle is not made. And the receiver goes out of bounds at the 16-yard line. That'll be short of down marker. It'll bring up 4th down and 2. What do you do if you're UNLV? Are you still thinking that this is a game? Do you still try and keep your offense on the field down by 21?
Well, it looks like they're going to punt.
Is there any coach in America that would have went for it?
I would have gone for it. Why not?
I love it.
Yeah, you're on the road. 4th and 2. Give it a shot.
You wonder how outside of the box Tony Sanchez wants to be. Last year he was a high school coach, now getting an opportunity at the FBS level. Bobbled snap. Peppers comes up to field it, and he does so at the 48-yard line. Let's take a look at the Dr. Pepper play of the game. It's Ty Isaac back in the second quarter.
That's that zone sweep with your center pulling. Glasgow made a great block to spring him, but you're showing some power and speed by Ty Isaac. He's really coming into his own in this game.
And that's the one-of-a-kind Dr. Pepper play of the game. Longest touchdown, I'm going to guess, longest touchdown scored in a Big Ten game by a Joliet Catholic runner since Mike Allstock was doing it at Purdue back in the 90s.
Eric, you have all the great trivia.
There's Derek Green. That's the first time we've seen Derek Green carry the football. So we've seen 3 other runners before him. Remember last year, this time, Derek Green was the featured tailback in Brady Hoke's offense.
Hey, get him out in the game, see what they can do, keep your other running backs fresh.
Derek Green had an injury that ended his 2014 early. Still trying to come back. Junior out of Richmond, Virginia. New quarterback in the game, Wilton Spate. And Spate hands it off. Green barrels forward out to the 41-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down and short. With the way that we saw Michigan at times struggle in short yardage, maybe if Derek Green can get some short yardage runs for first downs, he will impress Jim Harbaugh here in the fourth quarter.
And you have a big quarterback in Spate right now in the game. 6'6" quarterback.
Wilton Spate also from Richmond, Virginia. He hands it off, and Green has got what appears to be a first down. 3 straight carries for Derek Green.
Derek Green had no hole there. He made that yards himself, and he did a great job of sticking that left foot in the ground and getting north and south to get that first down. That was a good job by Derek Green with nobody out in front blocking.
Now, people at home may be wondering, where's Shane Morris? Isn't he the quarterback of the future? Well, in this type of situation, up by 21 late in the fourth quarter, there is still a chance that if Shane Morris does not play deep into the year, that he could retain some eligibility and just use this as a redshirt year if he's not needed. Spate goes deep. Is it caught? No, it's not. Looking for Grant Perry in the end zone. The freshman can't hang on. So Shane Morris is still highly regarded and well thought of here in Ann Arbor. But in a mop-up situation, Wilton Spate gets the opportunity as opposed to using up eligibility for Shane Morris.
And if Spate just throws the ball outside again instead of inside on the fade route, he might have a shot at a completion. But what you don't want on a fade route is to throw the ball inside. That's one of the toughest catches to make and usually results in an interception or a batted down pass.
Ross Taylor Douglas is now the deep back. He gets a touch. Taylor Douglas to the edge. Pushed out of bounds. Junior out of Avon, Ohio. He's a Cleveland native. That's the west side of Cleveland.
And that's the run of the day for the Michigan offense is the power sweep. That's been their best run.
Over the years, Michigan has done a great job of getting impact players from the state of Ohio.
Sure.
Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson. Ricky Powers, Jared Bunch. 10 different rushers have carried the football here against UNLV. 3rd down and 7. Spate with a big arm. Throws to the end zone. Did he? No, incomplete. Freddie Canteen had it for a moment, but he couldn't hang on. Good defense played on the back half. That's Tim Huff.
Again, Spate was a little late with the football. It's going to happen with a new quarterback, getting used to your system. And he's just a little late with the ball, which allows your DB to recover. He put it in the only spot he could. Again, there's that inside throw that makes it a tough completion to make. They'll learn that. The quarterbacks will learn that. Keeping that fade on the outside is what you want to do.
Underneath 3.5 to play. 4th down and 7. Michigan going for it. Why not? Spate. Incomplete. Looking for Drake Harris. Ball given over to UNLV on downs.
Big, strong, 6'6", 235-pound quarterback's tough to bring down. He's lucky he got that ball off him. See the strength of Spate.
Let's take a look at our Duluth Trading hardest working player. It is Ty Isaac. Just 8 carries, but he got his money's worth. 114 yards for Isaac.
And that's a big boost for this Michigan offense, because now you have another running back that has confidence in your system. And he's going to need, Coach Harbaugh's going to need all of them before the year's out. Good job of getting Ty Isaac going today to help you down the road as well.
Lexington Thomas. I'm just talking off the top of my head, but I think
Lexington Thomas was the ball carrier.
On Big Ten players with the first name of Ty over the years. You got Ty Isaac, Ty Law. Man, talk about a shutdown quarterback back in the day. Spelled differently, but what about Ty Streets?
Ty Streets.
Pretty good wide receiver. Had a nice career in the NFL.
You're right, Herb. A lot of ties in the Michigan program.
Kurt Palandek back into the game. He had a couple series earlier in relief of Blake Decker.
What I like about this Michigan defense right now, it's late in the game, and they are still hustling and running to the football.
Lawrence Marshall runs back out of bounds.
Sizable lead, and they're still running and hustling to the football, and that's what you want. Many times when you get a sizable lead, you don't have that on the defensive side late in the game. But these guys are still running hard.
Third down at 5. Tackle missed in space. And that's going to allow UNLV to get a first down. Wayne Lyons hadn't played much this year from scrimmage. He's been a special teams player. Wayne Lyons, the transfer from Stanford, got a year of eligibility to come play in the Big Ten.
That was a rare missed tackle for Michigan. They've tackled well today. And that was a rare missed tackle, and they've done a good job of tackling it at first contact. Except for that play. Really the only one that sticks out to me all day long.
Chuck, we talked beginning of the game, the importance of getting takeaways. Michigan had just 2 takeaways in the first 2 games. 1 fumble recovery, 1 interception. They did get 2 takeaways this afternoon, both of them interceptions. Did you find in your coaching career and playing takeaways as a defense, can you create them with scheme, or is it just the type of player that you have on your roster?
Usually the type of player that you have.
Timeout.
Timeout on the field will continue with UNLV and Michigan. 1:28 left to play. Jim Harbaugh leading his Michigan Wolverines to a 28-7 lead over UNLV. 1:28 remaining. Chuck Long, we were talking about creating turnovers and what's the proper recipe.
Well, to create fumbles, it's usually the type of player you have. But as far as getting interceptions, it's the scheme that you have and tricking your quarterback into those bad decisions.
You saw the schedule for Michigan. Their next game will be against BYU. Incomplete. Looking for Devontae Boyd. Interesting schedule put together. Wolverines, every single team they're playing before Big Ten action comes from west of the Continental Divide.
A lot of that's just hard to get teams on your schedule. You know, a lot of teams don't want to travel that far or whatever the case may be. You got to have that open date at the same time, and sometimes it just works out that way.
Well, there's no shame in playing Utah. That's a good program. BYU, historically a good program. Palandek using those feet to scamper across midfield.
And Jim Harbaugh has connections on the West Coast because he's at Stanford, so he's trying to get more exposure on the West Coast. You do that with TV games and play teams from the West, so that has something to do with it as well. All gets down to recruiting sometimes, where you're going in recruiting.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh's made it clear. Well, they'll go wherever they need to find a player. If they're a good player and a good student, they'll be recruited. And with his California connections, with his NFL connections, with his Midwestern roots, there's not going to be very many places in the United States where a player can hide, and Michigan's not going to find him.
And we asked him that, and it goes back to, and what did he say? He went back to Fielding Yost. He said, hey,
right.
Fielding Yost recruited California players. So he has a great sense of Michigan history, loves Michigan history.
George Nofahu with the catch. That'll stop the clock temporarily. 31 seconds remaining. Pickup of 12 for Nofahu. UNLV scoring their only touchdown earlier in this fourth quarter. Now they call a timeout.
Timeout.
It'd be a big
UNLV.
victory for the program to score another touchdown here. That's their focus. Coming to the Big House, playing in front of 108,000 people, and coming within 14 of Michigan. That's a victory if you're a Rebel. Next Saturday, it's another full slate of action at noon. We've got Michigan State, Rutgers, and Purdue all taking the field at the same time. Then at 3:30 Eastern, both the Nittany Lions and the Gophers are at home. In prime time, we've got Wisconsin taking on Hawaii, or some will see Northwestern taking on Ball State. That's next Saturday at BTN. And BTN to go to btn.com/gamefinder. See the game in your market. Full slate of games this weekend and next weekend. I'm loving it.
A lot of fun. It's a great time of year. You mentioned UNLV. It's good exposure for them, too, being on TV like this. It's good for their program. As you said, if they get another drive and a touchdown here, that'll make Tony Sanchez and his staff and team look good.
Palandek in trouble, breaks a couple of tackles. Palandek can scoop out of bounds at the 15-yard line. He's hard to bring down. Not a big fella, 185 pounds. But he plays big.
He plays big. He can run, and he's strong. This is a real good boost for Tony Sanchez in his first year. His kids are playing hard till the end, and that's what you want in a first-year coach is, hey, you're not going to come out of this game with a win, but are my guys still playing hard? It validates your coaching. Hey, they're listening to me. They're playing hard. That's always a good sign. It's a good feeling for a head coach, even in a loss.
And you read the local papers out in Las Vegas, and it's all smiles. They think that Tony Sanchez has a chance to really do it on a big-time level with the Rebels. Palandek back of the end zone, incomplete.
Palandek needed to throw that to the back pylon more. When you're inside the 20, you teach your quarterbacks, aim for the back, throw the back pylon in the corner. Those are great aiming points for you before you even take the snap. I always told my quarterback, get an idea where that back pylon is and then throw it to that area. He just threw it short of that. But those are good landmarks for quarterbacks inside the 20.
This has been a 10-play drive. Here's play number 11. Second down and 10. Flag down on the field. Ball flutters out of the right hand, and it was almost intercepted. Jared Wilson still on the field. Almost had himself an interception. Would have been the third pickoff of the afternoon for the Wolverines.
Offsides, defense, number 73. Personal foul, hands to the face, number 78, offense. Those penalties offset.
Offsetting penalties.
Second down.
So you had the offsides, and then you had the hands to the face. So offsetting penalties, a whole bunch of nothing. The ball remains on the 14-yard line.
You have 8 seconds here. You have maybe 2 plays.
Palandek! Hurst with the sack. And that will do it. Or maybe not. No.
I call timeout. Timeout, UNLV. Which is good. That's a good timeout. Get one more
Timeout.
play.
UNLV.
And both sides
They're
were already
third and
coming to
final.
midfield. And Tony
Will the
Sanchez
clock
said, I want to
operator
keep
please
playing.
put 2
There's
seconds
still 1
on the
second
game
remaining on the game clock. You can't take those timeouts back with you.
Thank you.
Back to Las Vegas. You might as well use them.
Just great pressure up front. Only a 3-man rush, and they still get there. The head coach is calling a timeout right now, which is, I think, is a great advantage and a great rule that allows your head coach to call it. What Tony's saying, this is a great timeout because you're showing your kids, hey, I'm going to fight to the end as a head coach. We're going to go all the way to the end. We're going to fight to the end, regardless of the score. That's a great attitude to instill with your football team. It gets your football team to believe in you as a head coach. Good timeout by Coach Sanchez. Throw it up there, a little Hail Mary action.
Hallenbeck to the end zone, has a man incomplete, and that will do it. Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan Wolverines improved to 2-1. Back-to-back home victories last week against Oregon State. This week taking down UNLV. Is Michigan football back? A conversation that will continue here in Ann Arbor and around Big Ten country for the next 7 days before Michigan takes on BYU next week here in the Big House. 254 rushing yards for the Wolverines, 3 rushing scores. Michigan football playing the way Jim Harbaugh wants them to.
That's Michigan football. Is a good, solid victory for them. Played really good defense today. The one thing they have to get going a little bit is their passing attack, but they did it Michigan style by running the football first. Little play action off of that. That's how they want to win games.
Now, Jake Rudock was not perfect, but he did enough good things and was careful enough with the football for the most part. And Michigan able to run the offense that they want, score the 28 points, and the defense having a shutout until deep into the 4th quarter, giving up a touchdown and then holding off on that final effort by UNLV to make it a 28-7 final score. So positives to remember over the next 7 days: Michigan offensively, defensively, and also special teams.
And they have all 3 going today. And again, some real positives coming out. They're going to watch that film, very, very pleased in what they accomplished in all 3 phases overall. Again, they're going to have to get some better rhythm in their passing game as the time goes, because they're going to need that. But they stayed out of those 3rd and long situations today, which is a good and a plus for that offense.
And one of the stars in the game today, Ty Isaac, standing by with Johnny Kane.
Well, Ty, last week Davion Smith had the big game. This week it was you. How deep is this running back core?
Very deep. I mean, if you look at it, we got a bunch of guys in that room who work really hard, and you know, everybody has their ratings coming out of high school, but I think everybody's developed a lot, and Coach Wheatley's done a really good job with us.
We talked to your offensive coordinator Tim Drevno earlier in the week. Said, hey, of all your running backs, who's the one who could break it from 50 plus? He said they all could, but 70 plus.
I know, I surprised myself a little bit. The line did a really good job. You know, we had a really good game plan in this week, and you know, we've just been practicing really hard, and that just paid off for us.
Congratulations on the win.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, guys, send it back up to you.
Johnny, thank you. Terrific job this afternoon. Yeah, Ty Isaac this week. Last week it was Davion Smith. Who will it be next week when Michigan takes on BYU? A lot of smiles here from Ann Arbor. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment. Don't go anywhere. Michigan, a winner over UNLV.